The character who is in focus in today's memorial is Martha, the sister of Mary and Lazarus. They were natives of Bethany, and it is possible that their house served as the home base of Jesus whenever Jesus and his disciples were in Judea. Do not forget that Jesus was from Nazareth in Galilee. Let me begin by calling attention to something that is a little unusual about the way the two sisters are portrayed in today's gospel. There seems to be a kind of a reversal of roles. Martha is the one who comes out to welcome Jesus, while Mary sat at home. It is John's way of telling us that Mary was sulking or giving Jesus a cold shoulder. In Tagalog, we would say, nagtatampo siya. Martha is the one who is consistent in her frankness towards Jesus. You remember that passage in Luke chapter 10 where she practically scolded Jesus for allowing her to work alone in the kitchen? Straight to his face, Martha said, "Don't you care that my sister has left me by myself to do all the serving? Tell her to help me." Martha's spontaneity and openness towards Jesus suggests that they really treated Jesus like a member of their family. John tells us they had sent word already much earlier, before Lazarus died, hoping that Jesus could visit them in Bethany because they needed him very badly. When Jesus finally decided to drop by their house in Bethany, unfortunately, Lazarus was dead already. And so, do you now understand why Mary is snubbing him? She really wants Jesus to feel her disappointment in him. Martha herself does not even wait until Jesus has entered their house. She has hardly said hello to him. She's already telling him straight to his face her honest feeling about his late coming. She says, "If only you were here, my brother would not have died." Wow, what a painful rebuke. And take note, she's not even finished yet. When Jesus attempts to give her the hope of resurrection as consolation, she immediately reacts vehemently. And she says, yes, I know, at the end of time. It's her way of saying, and you want us to be consoled by that in the midst of our terrible loss? In our first reading, Jeremiah the prophet is like Martha. He just could not hold his tongue anymore. He literally takes God to task, rebukes him. And it is probably the strongest rebuke that a prophet has ever said against God. Imagine, he called God a treacherous brook. A treacherous brook, meaning a stream that is quiet now and suddenly surging like a tsunami just a moment later. That's how it was with the wadis in Israel. You'll never know that it is raining somewhere far and you're walking on a wadi or a brook that suddenly surges like a tsunami. So Jeremiah sounds like a prophet who is having a nervous breakdown as he begins to realize not the rewards, but the hazards of being a messenger of God. You see, laments make up a good part of the scriptures, especially in the book of Psalms. I consider them a good assurance to people, especially those who feel very guilty, not only for sometimes blurting out their own words of rebuke towards God, but even the mere thought of questioning God's ways sometimes makes people guilty. In short, the fact that laments are part of the Judeo-Christian spirituality is already enough assurance that it's all right to pray like this to God. That we're not expected to behave like Johnny One Notes, saying nothing but praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Let's be honest, sometimes we don't feel like praising the Lord at all. They are an assurance that God can take it. It's okay to express your honest feeling before God. It's okay not to be okay sometimes. Back to the gospel scene, because Mary stayed at home, she's now getting embarrassed. Martha is now getting embarrassed because most likely Jesus is looking for her younger sister. And so she rushes back to the house and she's practically dragging Mary outside to meet Jesus. But like I said, nagtatampo eh. She's angry. But she comes out. And before she could even talk, she already breaks down before Jesus. And she repeats the same words of rebuke that her sister had said earlier. And this time, instead of answering Mary, Jesus keeps quiet. He asks to be brought to the tomb. And while they were on the way to the tomb, he is weeping with them. What a tender image of the one Martha had just confessed as the Christ, the Son of God, the one who is to come. I do not think Jesus was weeping only for Lazarus. You know, I think Jesus was weeping also because he felt the pain of the rebuke, the pain of not being able to explain to them what had kept him from coming much earlier. Where were you when we needed you? Actually, he had made a big risk in deciding to come to Judea. The disciples were warning him that he was facing the danger of being arrested and detained and sentenced by crucifixion, or perhaps even to be beheaded like John, his cousin. But Jesus kept quiet. He just wept. He did not even feel the need to justify himself to Mary. Sometimes we do not realize that we are hurting God's feelings. Especially when we can afford to accuse Him of not caring. Don't you care? As when the disciples did, when they found Him sleeping in the midst of a storm on a cushion in the boats. Don't you care? Why are you sleeping? Don't you care that we are perishing? The rebuke comes from the wrong notion or presupposition that God is up there, far away, He's just watching. That He remains unaffected. I wonder how many people around the world are feeling this way towards God because of this pandemic. People who are praying to God, crying out to God for their loved ones who are infected, struggling for their lives alone in a hospital. People pleading to God because they have lost their jobs. I wonder how many have given up praying because they feel that their prayers are not being heard anyway. I wonder how many have resorted to smashing their religious images at home and in anger perhaps even dared God to strike them down with lightning. I wonder how many people are grieving in silence and asking, why do you allow these things to happen? Or perhaps people who have given up their faith altogether and have silently made up their minds and declared in hopelessness, siguro wala talagang Diyos. Maybe there is no God. Today, we thank God for this feisty woman called Martha because of the way she spoke to Jesus. She's trusted the Lord enough to be able to dare to pour out her grief to Jesus. Her frankness tells us that she had enough confidence in God's unconditional love. I assure you, brothers and sisters, hindi siya magagalit. He'll not strike you down for complaining. It's okay. Martha was able to express her bitter lament to Jesus, in whom she had found the great I am, the one who allows himself to be blamed, to be hurt, to be moved to tears by us. You know, I am the resurrection, said Jesus. I am, for the Jewish people, is the name of Yahweh. It is the name of God. I am. And in Him, Martha had found the God who emptied Himself and became human precisely so that He could say up close to those who feel abandoned and dejected and hopeless, no, I am here. I'm here for you. I hear your cry. I am not up there somewhere far away. I am down here with you. But all I ask of you is to have faith. Be still and know that I